Hi everyone. The next book in our back to school text set is Elizabeti School by Stephanie Stuave Baden and illustrated by Christy Hale. And this school actually takes place in Tanzania, which is a country in Africa. So think about how Elizabeti's school and Yost are different and think about how they are similar while I read. It was Elizabeti's first day of school. She tried to sit still while Mama braided her hair, but she was so excited that she had to fidget a little. Mama finished and Elizabeti jumped up. She twirled around and around in her new school uniform. She bent down to feel the smooth surface of her shiny new shoes. No more bare feet! Elizabeti smiled. School must surely be a very special place. It was still too early to leave for school, so Elizabeti wanted to play with her cat, Moshi. Elizabeti held a string for Moshi to chase, like she did every day, but this time Moshi didn't want to play. Finally, it was time to go. Elizabeti waved goodbye to Moshi. She hugged her rock doll Ava and her baby sister Flora. She let her little brother Obedi give her a sloppy kiss. Then Mama patted Elizabeti on the head and told her and her older sister Pendo to be good as they headed out the door. How do you think Elizabeti feels about being a big sister to her sister Flora and her little brother Obedi? At first, Elizabeti walked very fast, but she slowed down as they neared the school. Pendo took Elizabeti's hand and held her into the schoolyard. There were 3 boys and girls everywhere, laughing and yelling and singing. All the noise made Elizabeti feel shy. She looked back the way that they had come and wished they'd stayed home. So the story says at first she was walking pretty quickly to get there and then she started slowing down. So talk about why you think she is starting to slow down when she gets closer to the school. But then Elizabeti's friend Rahali grabbed her hand and held her and led her to a group of girls kneeling on the ground. They were playing Machura, a game with rocks. Elizabeti smiled. She liked to play with rocks. Elizabeti watched as Rahali dug a small hole and filled it with stones. Then Rahali threw a rock in the air and, with the same hand, picked out a stone from the hole. Again, with the same hand, she caught the rock before it hit the ground. The next time, she picked out 2 stones and then 3. Elizabeti had started to dig a hole when the teacher rang the bell. So they are wearing school uniforms. So what are school uniforms and how do you feel about them? Elizabeti filed inside with the others. She sat on a bench near the front. The teacher began telling them all the things they would do, but Elizabeti had trouble paying attention. She wondered if Flora missed playing with her or if Mama needed her help cleaning the rice. The other children started to copy the letters the teacher had written on the blackboard. Elizabeti started to copy them too, but she couldn't help wondering if Obedi wanted her to take him for a walk, or if Ava was feeling lonely, sitting in the corner by herself at home. Elizabeti wondered if they'd missed her. She was certainly missing them. Why is Elizabeti having trouble paying attention at this point? And do you ever get distracted thinking about other things while you're at school? After their lessons, the children all went outside. Some of the older boys played drums while the girls danced. Elizabeti didn't know the dance, but one of the older girls took her hand and showed her what to do. Elizabeth liked it so much she didn't want to stop when it was time to go inside again. Back in the schoolroom, the teacher taught Elizabeth and the other young children how to count to 5. Moha, Mbili, Tatu, Nine, Tano. After a few times, Elizabeth could say the words on her own. Later, the teacher read a story. After that, school was over. Elizabeth and her classmates stayed to work in the school's garden. Elizabeth helped pick onions and tomatoes. What do you think the words Moha, Mbili, Tatu, Nine, and Tano mean? On the walk home, Elizabeth's new shoes started to hurt her feet, so she took them off. The warm dirt felt wonderful on the bottom of her feet. At home, Elizabeth was so glad to see everyone, she hugged them all. She changed into her old clothes, which Mama had washed and dried. They were warm from the sun and felt much softer against her skin than the stiff new school clothes. Elizabeth helped with the rest of the afternoon's chores, played with Ava and Obedi, and helped Mama give Flora a bath. Elizabeth was so happy to be home she decided she didn't want to go back to school. What kinds of things does Elizabeth help out with at home? Elizabeth went to find her cat. She had looked almost everywhere for Moshi when Mama finally called for her. Elizabeth ran into the house. Mama was on her knees by Elizabeth's bed, smiling, and Obedi was jumping up and down beside her. Elizabeth peeked under the bed. Moshi was curled up, sleeping, but she wasn't alone. Tucked in beside her were several tiny newborn kittens. Elizabeth knew better than to disturb them, but just then she thought of something. She pointed at each kitten and said, Moha, Mbili, Tatu, Nine, Tano. Mama was surprised and hugged her. Elizabeth knew how to count. That night, Elizabeth counted the kittens for Baba and wrote some letters in the dirt to show what she had learned at school. Mama and Baba were very proud. Pendo and Elizabeth danced and they all laughed when Obedi tried to copy them. Elizabeth started to show Mama how to play Machura, but was surprised that Mama was already very good at it. They played until it was time to go to sleep. Elizabeth climbed into bed and held Ava close. She looked at her pretty school clothes hanging nearby the doorway. She thought about how good it felt to show Mama and Baba the new things she had learned. Elizabeth shut her eyes and listened to Moshi's steady purring as a kitten meowed every now and then. Elizabeth decided she would give school another try, but home was surely the best place to be. Have you ever felt the way that Elizabeth is feeling? So the language that Elizabeth is learning in this story is called Swahili. And Swahili is a language that is used in Tanzania, where I said the story takes place. But how is the setting of Tanzania different than the setting of Chesterton or the school Yost? How are things different? And my last question is, how does Elizabeth's feelings change from the beginning of the story to the middle of the story and then to the end of the story? Thanks for listening, everybody.